Good morning, everybody. It's August 7th, 2020. I hope you're enjoying your Friday so far. This morning, I want to talk to you a little bit about divorce. And at first, you might be thinking, Carrie, what happened? I thought you were a romantic. I thought you liked weddings and you were going to have several videos about marriage. And now you're turning into a Debbie Downer. What's going on? The reason that it's important to talk about divorce is because if we understand what divorce is and where it comes from and the destruction it leaves behind, we can do more to protect marriages and solve the problems that are going to come up in any good marriage. And if you're single and you're thinking about getting married, if you understand divorce, then it's going to help you prepare better, and it might even prevent you from getting into a situation where you can end up in an ugly divorce. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to talk about what divorce is not. Divorce is not natural. Let's go back to right where it all started, Genesis chapter 2, verses 21 to 24. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. If this reads a little bit like Cinderella, at its most basic, marriage kind of is like Cinderella. Boy meets girl, boy and girl get married. Divorce was never intended to be part of the picture. And we no longer live in the perfect world in which Adam and Eve got married. That's a given. That's why we have divorce. But while perfect marriages don't happen, you're going to run into problems. Divorce isn't natural. It's preventable in most cases. And we'll get into that shortly. The other reason divorce is not natural is because marriage is a picture of God's relationship with his people. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21, verses 9 and 10. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. Now, Revelation is a hard book. It can be overwhelming and even scary. But right here in the middle of talks of the 7 last plagues and judgment and things like the mark of the beast, we have a beautiful picture of God's relationship with his people. It's the picture of a groom taking care of his bride. And if you think about it, that's exactly how God has always treated his people, and it wouldn't be natural for God to just cast us aside. We've seen that. That's not part of his character. I know myself, I wouldn't blame God for giving up on me sometimes, but he doesn't do that. And so, in a marriage, it's not natural for the bride and groom just to give up on each other either. Moving right along, the other thing divorce is not, is a quick fix to just any old problem that you're going to run into in your marriage. Let's go to what Jesus has to say about this in the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verses 1 to 10. And it came to pass that when Jesus had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee, and came into the coast of Judea beyond Jordan. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying unto him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement, and to put her away? He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away doth commit adultery. His disciples say unto him, If the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. Notice, Jesus is saying here point blank that the only reason to get a divorce is if your spouse cheats on you. And he never even says that that is the answer in every single case. Automatic divorce. That is a decision that has to be made between the offended party, their spouse, and God. It may be the only solution, but Jesus only says it's acceptable. He doesn't say it automatically has to happen in every single case. And I have to say something right here because I know there are very painful, very scary situations where abuse is present out there, and I know that that's not our God's will for anybody. I just don't have any scriptures right off the top of my head to touch on that. If you know of any, you have any thoughts on that angle, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. If I can gather enough material, I'd love to even make a video that talks about that later on. Moving right along, let's go back to the history of divorce and talk about what it is. For an example, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. This is the writings of Moses. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. So, basically, as we're well aware, divorce is ending a marriage. Now, let's dive into that a little deeper and talk about what that actually is and the process. Picture a wedding where the happy couple stands in front of the preacher and all their family and friends, and they say their vows. They promise to stay together and be faithful for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, till death do them part. Now, looking at divorce, divorce completely reverses all that. And not only do you have the legal angle of a divorce where you're going in front of a judge, but you have the divorce is going to come out in the court section of the newspaper. You're going to have friends and family talking about the situation, and with social media, you're probably going to get talk going on social media. Tempers are going to flare. Emotions are likely to run high. There's going to be he said, she said, that they said. And let's just be honest. Even the most quote-unquote civil divorces are by nature ugly. And what you're actually doing when you get divorced is you're stepping up and saying to God and everybody else, I made a mistake. I married the wrong person. If you're not willing to do that, then it may be time to seek help. There may still be hope for your marriage. Divorce doesn't have to happen. And if you're single and you're thinking, ooh, I am not cool with going there, then give any marriage that you might be thinking about or planning serious thought. If a divorce scares you, period, then proceed with caution and take steps to prepare in advance. You can do things before you ever get to that altar to prepare for a better marriage. And as a married woman myself, and someone who has watched romantic movies and been witnesses to happy weddings and read lots of books on the subject, I can tell you, if somebody tells you that a perfect marriage is possible, they're either lying or they completely don't know what they're talking about, and you need to get your advice from a different source. But it is possible to get that happily ever after, a marriage that's built to last. See, at their most basic, a fairy tale like Cinderella isn't going to tell you things like, well, Prince Charming left his dirty socks out in the middle of the floor again, or Cinderella didn't put the cat back on the toothpaste. You're going to have problems in any marriage where two humans are trying to build a home together. But you can build a strong, happy marriage that's built to last, that's built to stand up to those challenges. And we're going to talk more about those kind of things in future videos. But getting back to our subject at hand, if the person that you are with, if commitment to them scares you, then it might be time to rethink that situation too. As the disciples of Jesus told him, it's better not to marry. I spent enough years being single that I can honestly tell you, between that and the marriages that I've observed, being single and happy is not that scary. It's better to be single and happy than end up in a bad marriage and divorce court. So that's about all I have for today. You may have several comments about this video, and I'd love to read them. Meanwhile, I hope you all have a blessed day and a good weekend coming up ahead. Take care.